Today we are discussing the Japanese liminal space horror film Exit 8 by director Genki Kawamura. We both just saw it.
93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
93%.
You have some thoughts to share.
Well, first off, okay, like this is a...
What is this?
Yeah,
what is this movie?
This is a game like that became a movie.
Right.
You know, and it's these types of video games, these anomaly-based video games, which are basically like those like little kid things.
That's exactly what it is. It's,
Yeah.
it's a children's game that you would get in a restaurant on the placemat.
Spot the differences.
The cow's wearing a hat.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that I like. I actually didn't think, as it's kind of has like a little creepy feel to it, sort of in the video game. But so having this be a horror seemed a little bit interesting, to me. The visual language of the video game is identical in the film.
Yes.
In the film, but then the story of the film is completely wholesale put onto this video game.
Because there is no story in the video game.
There's no story in the video game. I mean, other than what you might want to devise yourself.
You're trapped in a subway tunnel, a passageway, and you've got to get out of it by spotting the anomalies.
By spotting the anomalies, yes. You have to find Exit 8. So the director is also a novelist.
Okay.
So storyteller, interested obviously in narration. And I really think... And this is something that I've been looking for, sort of more discussion very specifically of the story. And you can read it in different ways. Yep. Like, I think that you could see this film as being kind of a commentary on the capitalist system.
Okay.
Kind of this idea of this young man who is on the subway going to his temp job, and then he sort of ends up in this endless cycling space that he can't get out of, and he's running into other people who are in this endless cycling space. And when we get to the end of the movie, he exits the endless cycling space, but then goes up to a platform right back where he was in the beginning. So you could say that this is talking about the futility of kind of life in the capitalist system. You're just, like on a hamster wheel kind of situation. So yes, I think that you could say that. You could also talk about masculinity in this film. You do have this main character. None of the characters are named. The characters are the lost man, the walking man, the boy, the schoolgirl, and the woman. And
each of the characters, when they're introduced on screen, there's a piece of text. The very first words that pop up are he, which then fill out to the, whatever the name of the character is.
And so the lost man is our main protagonist, and he receives a phone call from his girlfriend, the woman, who says that she is pregnant, and then he immediately gets thrown into this liminal, endless, looping.
Well, she's asking him to come to the hospital. What is he going to do? And he doesn't know what he's going to do. And then he finds himself trapped in this space, not knowing what to do and how to
not knowing what to do. Exactly. And so, there is this kind of sense that in order to become a man, he has to engage with this liminal space in a particular way. He has to be observant. He has to look and find the anomalies.
Well, he has to interact, which is set up in the beginning. The very opening scene is him on the subway, and there's a man yelling at a woman because her baby is crying, and he does nothing. He does nothing. He just puts his earbuds back in and goes back around his day. So it's that sort of, he has to interact.
He has to interact, and he ends up interacting with the walking man, and then he ends up, who happens to be sort of part of this whole system. The schoolgirl is part of this whole system. And then there's the boy who appears to be stuck in this space with him, who is not part of the anomaly. And, the message is that he needs to protect this boy. He needs to be sensitive to this boy's needs. He needs to protect this boy. And then once he recognizes that that is his role, then he is able to escape.
And that's juxtaposed to the walking man who's become the walking man precisely because he abandoned the boy.
We see that. We see him abandon the boy, et cetera, et cetera. So I suppose you could say that, but I think that it's taking that another step. What it's doing is it's saying that there are men's roles and there are women's roles. And the man needs to, in order to have a meaningful life, in order to escape the drudgery of going around and around and around, has to accept their role as being a father.
He's got to man up.
He's got to man up.
And become a protector.
Yes, and become a protector of children, a protector of women.
Yeah.
We learn nothing about the women characters.
Right.
The role of the woman who calls him to say that she's pregnant is simply to set up the whole situation that he has to face up to. And then the role of the schoolgirl, who is like the walking man, kind of a foil for the walking man.
Right.
And when we see the walking man interact with the schoolgirl at a certain point kind of transmogrifies into a reflection of him.
Okay.
And all of the things that we are afraid of, spoiler alert, at a certain point, everything gets dark and we are revealed these rats with human eyes and ears whatever. And I think that what it's demonstrating is that if you don't get out of this space, this kind of narcissistic transmogrification situation is what you are stuck in.
Okay.
You know? So
you're not looking out beyond yourself.
Yes.
You're just going to become
consumed by it and then mutated into this mass of humanity and being sort of stuck in this infinite loop of trying to do only for yourself and not for anyone else.
Okay.
And then the ending of the film with this the lost man, becoming found. Right. He then exits, and the last scene of the film is him back on the train, hearing the woman with the baby crying,
getting yelled at. The guy's yelling at the woman,
and he reacts to that and intervenes.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not breaking the cycle of the behavior. It's instituting and encouraging a specific cycle of behavior.
Right.
It's saying that what needs to happen in order for you to have a legitimate, fulfilling life is that you need to be the man, be the protector, be the father.
It's a very traditional view of masculinity.
Exactly. There is no challenging of masculine identities here.
Well, that's what, when seeing a lot of the reviews talk about the toxic masculinity and how this provides some sort of alternative to that.
No.
I think the problem is that the moment you're trying to define masculinity as some singular definition of it, that's toxic in and of itself.
Yes. Like, men should be able to have multiple ways of functioning. And I feel that a movie like this that comes from this video game that's very limited, the set is limited, and then putting this story on top of it, it is sort of limiting it. It's putting it into a little box.
Right.
And unfortunately, that means that the character and the possibilities for the character and the possibilities for kind of thinking about what's going on are really, really limited in this film.
Yeah.
That narrative that has been put onto the video game it's like it is like a hamster wheel.
Right.
And you can't really get out of it. It's presenting to you over and over and over again, almost like a hammer over the head. And because we have no character that is a woman that develops, or no character outside of this one singular man whose character develops, and then a foil to him whose character develops in a different way.
Right.
That's all we've got.
The female characters, as we see them in the film, are all, they seem to be conjured up by the liminal space itself. And they're there to just trap the man.
Yes.
That's what women will do.
Exactly.
They'll say, hey, you don't need to use protection. And then they get themselves knocked up to trap you. That's what it's all about. There is an element.
Yes, there is an element of that. And to me, it's why I don't understand why this movie has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, because I do think it's not a very interesting film.
Yeah.
And the problem,
that was my takeaway from watching it. It was so minimal in its story, and it's hitting you over the head with the elements with the kid. okay, I see where this is going, then I got distracted. I was playing the game, essentially.
Yeah.
I was trying to spot the anomalies and getting frustrated that the anomalies were so freaking obvious and the character keeps missing them.
Yes.
So it's frustrating on that level as well. And as a liminal space, it's a very limited, restrictive liminal space.
And liminality, by very virtue of the definition of the word, is supposed to offer up more kind of possibility.
Yes. Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, I know that we've been talking about backrooms and
looking forward to seeing
it as a film, but even as a concept, as like an online concept, which is incredibly multifaceted, takes into account the possibilities of the liminal.
Absolutely. Those short films, I found all of them to be way creepier than anything in this movie. This movie didn't affect me. There's nothing scary, and I don't think horror movies have to automatically be scary and have jump scares and things like that. But they should create some sense of unease, which I never got from this film going over that same space. Whereas watching any of the backrooms concept in itself there's an unease to it because it is so expansive, because it is of such a gigantic,
there are no limits,
unimaginable scale. It makes no sense. That's where the creepiness and the I don't feel comfortable feeling comes from. I'm stuck in the same freaking hallway. And the hallway looks the same over and over.
And the only unease I feel is as a woman watching this who's basically being told that, your role is to trap men. Yeah. I had high hopes for this film, but, whatever.
Disappointed.
Disappointing. On to the next.
All right. But we're looking forward to the Backrooms.
Backrooms,
We're definitely going to go and see that. We'll definitely be
talk about that.
Have lots to say.
Yes.
I'm sure. Here's hoping.
Here's hoping.